is it possible to find medieval royal gardens in the middle of a modern city in the south of Kazakhstan? Why is Ancient Taraz historical and cultural complex not just a place for rest, but also an amazing archaeological monument? Where did the residents of this important point on the Great Silk Road go to take bath? All this in a new episode of Welcome to Kazakhstan Project.
Чем может занять себя турист, впервые посетивший Тараз?
What can a tourist who visits Taraz for the first time do? For example, he can relax among the fountains and shady alleys, or climb the observation tower and explore the surrounding area from a height of 34 meters. And also, he can visit the real medieval city. All this is located in one unique park, which we will visit today. This is Welcome to Kazakhstan Project. My name is Zakirjan Mamlutov. Let's broaden our horizons. Ancient Taraz Historical and Cultural Park was founded quite recently. 20 hectares of land were allocated for the construction in the city itself. The area where the central market of Taraz was once located suited ideally.
The
market was not just old, but the oldest place in the city. Therefore, it was here where archaeological excavations began to be carried out, around which a historical complex with an open-air museum appeared. On a small plot of land, scientists have discovered artifacts from various historical eras. Some of the finds are 2,000 years old. For 10 years of study in the settlement, archaeologists have discovered about 50,000 exemplars. We are in an open-air museum. It was opened as part of the celebration of the 550th anniversary of the Kazakh Khanate. Here are the archaeological sites of the ancient city of Taraz. A special alley was set up nearby where tourists come to relax and walk around. Many regions of Kazakhstan helped to create this alley. For example, the Taraz Melodies art object is installed at the entrance. There are main Kazakh instruments like kobuz and dombra. This is followed by the World of Taraz Arch. Inside it, there are copies of valuable monuments and artifacts found in this city. All this was created so that tourists could get to know the history of Taraz more deeply. In 2019, on the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the Jambil region, Ancient Taraz Historical and Cultural Ethno-Complex was opened. The complex consists of 5 objects. There is an artisan workshop, art gallery, museum, and exhibition center. It was built in the style of the Islamic civilization architecture, which was widespread on the territory of the country during the period of the Karahanid state. All this was created so that tourists could get to know the history of the city more deeply. The entrance unit symbolizes the connection between the past and the present. The entrance is made in the form of a 3-leafed arch. The shamrock in general can be found in all the decor of the park. For example, benches are made in the form of shamrock. Passing the arch, the guests of Ancient Taraz find themselves on a square resembling a dombra in its outlines. In the place where the resonator of the musical instrument should be, there is an amphitheater with a stage.
And
this is Taraz Sazı. Its height is 8 meters. It is made of granite. It rises in the center of the square and is its architectural dominant. The main square of the park is called Menbulak. This refers us to the earliest information about the states in the south of Kazakhstan. It was on the Menbulak plateau where the summer palace of the Western Turkey Khagans was once located. In the notes of Chinese historians, you can find mention of the magnificent tents that surrounded the residence. Of course, the history of the ancient Khaganates is inextricably linked with the history of Taraz. One of the most interesting objects that can be visited in the park is the observation tower at the Menbulak Square. Its height is 34 meters, and when you go upstairs, you can take a look at the whole complex. The tower is shaped as the steppe tulip, the eternal symbol of flowering.
Панорама, открывающаяся со смотровой площадки.
The panorama from the observation deck is mesmerizing. Everything is in full view. There is the local history museum and clock tower, pedestrian streets of Shahristan, parks, squares, and archaeological excavations that are ongoing to this day. Another picturesque corner of the park is the Great Silk Road Alley. No wonder Taraz was considered an important point on this trade route connecting Europe and Asia. The design of the alley reflects the best examples of ancient world's garden decoration. Guests of the park can feel like walking on the alleys of the Spanish palaces of the Arab conquest era, or imagine that they are walking around the residence of the Chinese emperor. What is unique about Ancient Taraz Park is that excavations on its territory are still underway. Visitors can navigate almost the ruins themselves, using wooden bridges. This is a great opportunity to see what the layout of the medieval city looked like, what its walls looked like, in what condition the water supply system of those years has come down to us. You can observe the ancient caravansary. It was found during archaeological excavations carried out between 2011 and 2017. Archaeologists believe that it could have been used for two purposes. The first version is a hotel. In the central square, visitors rested, drank tea, and there were sleeping rooms at the edges. And the second version is that the building could serve as a trading house. In the center, visitors made purchases, and the premises were used as a warehouse where traders stored their goods. They could display their counters right in front of them.
Есть легенда о том, что некогда под Таразом пролегал подземный ход с его...
There is a legend that once an underground passage ran underneath Taraz, which helped the inhabitants of the city escape from the Mongol troops' attacks. Popular rumor says that the underground passage led to Tekturmas mausoleum. If the tunnel really existed, then archaeologists will soon find it. Among the structures discovered during the excavations, one can distinguish an oriental bath, or hammam. During the reconstruction, it was possible to restore its original architecture. The bathhouse was lined with bricks, and the heat-conducting heating system was under the floor. The ancient Romans used a similar method to build their bathhouses.
На самом деле на территории древнего Тараза были найдены две бани. Одна в 30-е годы.
In fact, two bathhouses were found on the territory of Ancient Taraz. One was discovered in the 30s of the last century, the other in the 70s. But then there was a market, and both finds were mothballed until better times. In 2011, large-scale archaeological excavations began here. Here is a bathhouse found in the 70s. Unfortunately, information about the location of the second bath has not been preserved anywhere. Therefore, archaeologists will have to find it a second time. We can say that the history of Taraz city dates back to the Paleolithic era. As it became known, people inhabited the Karatau ridges from ancient times. Taraz was the capital of the states of Karahan, Turgesh, and Karluk. The city especially flourished during the reign of the Karahanid dynasty.
Тараз қалашығының негізгі қалануы біздің заманымызға дейінгі бірінші ғасырда.
Taraz was founded by the Hunnic ruler Gigi in the 1st century BC. He laid the first foundation of the city by collecting taxes from Parthia and Byzantium and uniting 500 workers. Taraz was studied by many scientists, geographers, and archaeologists. But the very first records of the ancient settlement were left by the Arab historian Al-Maqdisi. In his manuscripts, he wrote that Taraz is a very picturesque, densely populated city, full of gardens, surrounded by 4 gates and a dense forest. In the writings of Alkay Margolan, it is written that this is one of the most ancient cities of Kazakhstan and Jetissu.
Мен сыртын қоршалған қала деп келтірілген екен.
Если вы обратите внимание на эти плоские валуны, то увидите на них царапины.
If you look at these flat boulders, you will see scratches on them. These scratches are 1,000 years old. In fact, these are traces of ancient merchant carts from the Silk Road times. It is the central street of the ancient city. It was built at an angle. During the rains, the water did not stagnate in the city center, but went down the pavement. There is another important building on the territory of the complex, Friendship House. Numerous round tables and symposia dedicated to the history of Taraz are held here. The activities of the Friendship House are closely related to the Assembly of the Peoples of Kazakhstan, which is why many national holidays are celebrated within its walls.
Древний Тараз – это не просто парковая зона.
Ancient Taraz is not just a park area intended for recreation of citizens and tourists. This is a real open-air museum, a piece of the medieval East, presented to us by archaeologists. And if suddenly you find yourself in the Jambil region, then you must visit these places. Welcome to Kazakhstan.